All right. Well, welcome everybody to another episode of the Localpreneur Show. For those of you that have watched some episodes in the past, again, my name's Austin. I'm with Vital Storm. Again, super excited to have you guys here for our next installment where we're bringing A&A Plumbing outside of San Antonio onto the show here today to talk about them and highlight some of the things that they've been doing in their local community. Just a quick reminder that the Localpreneur Show, it's really a project where we're highlighting home service companies and their local engagement and differences that they're making with the people that they serve, with the people that are around them, and even the people that work for them. So, again, thank you for joining us, Joey. Thanks for being on the show today. Let me turn things over to you for a second here, Joey. Let me introduce yourself and then we'll jump in here.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
First off, my name's Joey Suarez. I'm the owner of A&A Plumbing. Been in business since 2007, so right about 15 years. We're mainly in the residential service repair replacement industry, plumbing, drains, and water treatment. Steadily growing. Hopefully continue to grow. So that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, well, perfect. Well, hey, I'm glad to have you on here. I know we've had a few conversations in the past, so excited to hear a little bit more about you guys and have you share everything that we're going to talk about today with people that are watching now after the fact, whenever it might be, to hear about some of these things that you're doing. So, well, let's jump in here. Let's talk about A&A Plumbing and how you guys are giving back to the community, how you guys are changing the lives of people you serve and that work for you. So let's start with the local community, Joey. Tell us and all the listeners about some of the impacts that your organization makes in the local community, really on a day-to-day basis or however often it might be. What are some of the things you guys are plugging in and giving back to the community on?
Okay, so we are based right outside of San Antonio, so we're in Schertz. So a lot of the communities that we give back to are the smaller outer suburbs, I guess you could say. Schertz, Universal City, Cibolo, these smaller areas. So we do give back through the city of Universal City by donating to certain events they have. They have a tree lighting every year, so we donate a lot of things for the tree lighting that they do. The Jubilee they have here in Schertz, we usually donate quite a bit for that and different types of events that they carry here at the parks. We like to try to do what we can to help out with those events. We do a lot with parks partners. It's a lot of donations to upgrade the parks in the area,
Very
so that
cool.
way the kids and families can have better places to hang out on weekends and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's very nice. How'd you guys come across those things? Is that something that somebody maybe in the organization brought up to you guys, or what
Um,
made you stumble upon that?
Yeah, well, my wife's kind of the head of the HR department here, and she looks for ways that we can give back to the community because the way that they take care of us and continue to use us and help us grow. So we want to be able to give back, and she's constantly looking for ways that we can do that.
Very cool. No, that's awesome. And just outside looking in, what's the impact that you think that's made, or maybe somebody shared with you a story about the things that you guys are doing. How is that impacting the community? I mean, what difference have you seen that being made?
So I think it makes a huge difference with when we donate for families around the holidays and stuff. The impacts it makes for them, where kids are able to have gifts, things like that. Just knowing that we're here to help and give back, that we're not just here to take, I think is a huge impact on a lot of people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then in terms of maybe a story of maybe a line of work that or a service call that somebody went on. Any kinds of unique stories of any particular job that you can think of since 2007 that you guys have maybe went out of the ordinary and done something above and beyond for somebody, just in the normal kind of plumbing job, if that makes sense. I mean, is there any kind of story that you want to share with everybody here?
Oh, absolutely. We have several of them, but one that really stands out was, we had a client a while back, had some plumbing leaks, and she every time we would call to come out, she kept having to reschedule. And one of the last times she rescheduled, she started to break down, and what we found out was she was going through chemo, and I guess every time it started to get better, it was getting, it wasn't getting better.
Yeah.
It was getting worse just when she thought it was going into the recession. But so last time we tried to call her, we finally told her, look, you have enough to worry about. Let us go ahead and just come out anyways. Let us take care of the problems, no charge at all. That way you can focus on your health and not having to worry about these plumbing leaks in your home. So we went
Wow.
out, free of charge. We covered all the costs just to make sure that she could focus on her health and not have to worry about the plumbing issues in her home.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
That's
awesome.
probably the main one that stands out. Just recently, we were on hoarders, so we donated time and materials for hoarders when they were helping a family out, clean the home up. They hadn't
Yeah.
had running water for, I don't know, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks. Hadn't had running water. I think it might have
Oh
been
my gosh.
months. She was using the bathroom outside. She wasn't able to use it, so we did donate the time and materials to get her water back on once they cleaned her house up. So
That's awesome. No, that's really cool that you guys are engaging there. And the first story you shared, I mean, I can only imagine the impact that made on her, just knowing that weight was lifted off her shoulders with all the other weights that are still there. So
absolutely. I mean, yeah, she was so thankful. She called in tears to thank us. Restored faith in humanity. Those types of
yeah,
things. So
yeah, and those are
it was
things
definitely a
that
good thing.
yeah, and those are things that you guys wouldn't normally share or post, just because people would think that maybe you're just trying to make yourself sound good if you said it yourself. But on something like this, that's the whole point of what we're doing is we want to highlight those kinds of stories. Have you guys share those things that you're impacting, because more people than not are probably trying to do something like that. We want to highlight that and share that with everybody. So that's really cool and really awesome. Um, and just maybe some of the team members that were involved on those couple of calls, or maybe perform the work when they figured out that it was free of charge, or they were doing that work for her. I mean, what impact did you see that make on the people that are actually working for you and took care of that job?
Oh, I think it's made a huge impact. They were really impressed with the way that we handled it and that we did took care of it, and it showed that we do care about our clients. And there's been times where people couldn't afford certain things, and our guys actually took money out of their pocket and brought it in and said, "Here, we'll cover the cost of the service call for them." We just had to make sure they got taken care of. We couldn't leave them without. So, seeing it
Yeah.
actually rub off on other people and hearing those stories is kind of what helps you get up in the morning and want to do
Yeah.
it all over again. So.
Yeah, that's very cool. The text thrown in to do the jobs. That's awesome. So, well, I mean, I know we've kind of talked about the local community, and I can already tell the difference you guys are making there. And obviously the people that are working for you feel it and feel like they want to make an impact as well and make a difference. So anything else that you wanted to bring to the podcast today before we kind of shift gears here, about some of the things that you guys are engaging the local community with, or anything else that you guys are kind of doing on a day-to-day basis?
No, I think I've kind of covered a lot of the stuff that we
Okay.
did. I'd just kind
Okay.
of, be beating the dead horse if I kept going over the same stuff. So,
No, no,
just
that's
kind of like you
perfect.
said, this isn't normal stuff that we've ever posted or anything because, we're not looking for recognition when we do it.
Yeah.
It's just about trying to help people. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And I see on the back of your chair there the Cowboys logo. I wish maybe we could help them in
yeah, I was
some
trying to
form or
hide it.
fashion,
I really
but
didn't. Yeah, I didn't want anybody
yeah.
bringing it up.
No, I feel your pain. I was sitting there on Saturday night or Sunday night, whatever it was. Just my wife was like, "Man, what's going on with you?" I'm like, "I'm just not in the best mood. Okay, just let me sit here in silence for the rest of the night."
Yeah.
But
Well, it's funny because I was
yeah,
watching a leadership thing earlier, and she was talking about how she took a break from the Cowboys and watching football for about 3 years as she was cleaning herself up. She was, I guess, an alcoholic, and 3 years later, she actually turned that game on against the 49ers, and she looked and she was like, this is the same team as 3 years ago. And
yeah,
basically, her whole thing was how, you have to change, or, if you're the same 3 years from now, then what's the point of getting up and doing what you do every day? So
yeah, yeah.
it was pretty neat how she was able to use the Cowboys analogy to kind of get to the leadership side. So
Yeah, no, exactly. Always, you got to wake up. You got to change. I mean, the world's an ever evolving place. If you don't change with it, you're going to get left behind.
yep,
Yeah, I've got a book right over here. It's called "Who Moved My Cheese." I don't know if you ever read it, but
yep,
yeah, where the mouse keeps going back to the same piece of cheese. So we finally moved it. You keep going back, you're going to
yeah.
starve.
Yeah, it's good,
Yeah,
fast read too. Yeah, it's a good book to
yeah,
read.
yeah, no, absolutely. I love the small books because you finish it
Yeah.
quick and feel accomplished. Well, perfect. Well, let's change gears here and let's talk about the organization as a whole. some of the impacts maybe you're making with the people that are actually working there. And I've already heard you share some of those that they're wanting to engage in the local community. They even want to chip in and help in on some of these projects that you guys are doing for people that need it. But maybe let's talk about somebody on the team or even yourself that you've really seen grow within the company or growth in the industry. And tell us a little bit about maybe that particular individual, if there's anybody you want to highlight.
So we have a couple guys that I've just seen a lot of growth in, which but it all has to do with financial management and understanding. So we provide a thing for our guys called Smart Dollar. And so what it does is, I don't know if you've heard of Dave Ramsey, which I'm sure you
Mhm.
have, everybody has, but it's more for businesses. And so we cover the cost for our guys to use it, and it takes them through all the steps. And I have guys that have, paid off credit cards. I have guys that could take off weeks at a time and it not hurt them because they've been able to build up nest eggs. One of
That's
my
awesome.
guys is on his last thing, and that's paying off his house this year is his goal. And
Oh,
they've been able
wow.
to pay everything else out over the last year. So that's, to me, that's one of the huge impacts. I love hearing those. I think I got a text, I think it was Christmas Eve or the day before that. Got a text from one of my texts that told me, he said, "Hey, just paid off one of my credit cards." And he just
That's
got his
awesome.
license about 4 or 5 months ago, and he owed almost 10,000 on a credit card. And going
Oh,
through
wow.
that course, he was able to pay it off before Christmas. And those are the things that I think that's the achievement I love to hear about, is when I hear these
Yeah.
guys doing things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Helping them, bettering their lives to where they can enjoy the time outside of work and the time inside of work and enjoy that kind of work-life balance. So, no, that's really cool. What about any training programs or anything where, or maybe anybody that has left the company since 2007? Did anybody start their own company or go on to do something big and great? Any stories like that are worth
No, I
highlighting?
have one guy that went off and opened his own company. He left last year. It's probably been about a year. Haven't talked to him in a while. He went off and opened his own company. But my main goal is what I tell all my guys, anybody that starts here, is as long as you leave better than when you got here, then I accomplished my job. So
Yeah, yeah,
because we're all
absolutely.
about just getting better, whatever that means to people. We do have training that we do for our apprentices. It's an 18-month training that we will provide to, well, they pay for it up front, but as long as you complete it, we give you all your money back.
Oh,
So it's
very
like a
cool.
savings almost, as long as you complete it. And it's just to train them on being a plumber and how to serve people the right way. So
Yeah, no, that's very cool. And you said something about leaving, being better than when you got here. That's exactly what one of our owners says in all of our leader meetings is, we want to equip people with those tools to go off and do big great things if they choose to. Never to leave at the same caliber you came in at, because
yeah,
what difference did you make ever those 5, 6, 7 years you worked there if you leave the same? So
yeah.
that's really cool to hear you guys are doing the same thing. So well, Joey, I know we've talked a lot about the things that you guys are doing in the community, things that you're doing for the people that work for you, but let's, from an owner standpoint, tell me a little bit just about running the business and doing all of these things. What's the kind of impact that it makes inside of you? What goes on in your brain when you see these things and you're doing these things and you're waking up trying to find these new opportunities on a daily basis?
Well, it's all about bringing it. It's all about it's not about the destination. It's, to me, it's really about it's about the, I just drew a blank there. It's about the journey, not the
Yeah.
destination. So, waking up and just knowing that I have guys that come in and are proud to come work here, and proud to say that they work here, and what we bring to them and what we do for them. That's what it's about for me. When it comes time and riding off into sunset, as long as I know that I brought people with me to do it, that's going to be what it's all about for me when it comes to success at the end of the day. To know that I was able to get other people that were financially free, didn't have to worry about sending their kids to college, didn't have to live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure that I can provide that for other families and not just my own.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's awesome to hear. I think anybody that's watching this, if they're in the San Antonio area or relatively close, is maybe going to be giving you a call to see how they can maybe work for you or partner with you because of some of the things that you're doing. So,
Yeah.
well, that's awesome. I really enjoyed having you here on the show today because obviously the point of this is highlighting home service companies, and some of the things you shared are some of the best things that I've heard on a lot of these shows that I've done so far. So again, for everybody that's watching, this is A&A Plumbing outside of San Antonio. And Joey, again, really enjoyed having you on here, sharing all the differences you guys are making in the community, within the organization itself, and just having people that love working for you and want to be there on a day-to-day basis, because it not only helps them be a better professional, but a better person outside of work as well. So
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on.
yeah, absolutely. Would love to connect again on one of these. I'm sure this will be an ever evolving project, so I'm sure we'll be having you back on here at some point. But thanks again, Joey, and thanks again to all the listeners that are watching, and hope that you're able to take something away from Joey and all the things he shared today.
Thanks again for listening to the Localpreneur Show. For more of our daily content, feel free to check out Josh or Austin's LinkedIn.